Hi everybody, it's 314 React here with the recent announcement of Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time. I thought it would be cool to try and apply some ray tracing to the n-sane trilogy on PC. First thing you want to be doing is heading over to ReShade.me. You want to go to here, download ReShade 470, and then you want to go into the description and go to the link that leads to how to get the ray tracing shader from Marty McFly. You need to sign up to their Patreon, and then you'll get access to their Discord, and then within that Discord, you'll be able to go to the betas channel and you'll be able to download the latest beta of the ray tracing global illumination shader. Once those are downloaded, you can then open up ReShade setup 470 here, and then you go click here to select a game and ReShade installation, go to browse, and then you want to browse to the Steam folder, Steam apps, common, then all the way down to Crash Bandicoot N-sane Trilogy. Click on the Crash Bandicoot N-sane Trilogy exe, hit open. It's D3D 11 I think, so just hit D3D 10, 11, 12, click that. This first one I just check all, hit OK, and then the rest I just hit OK on. And then that should be nicely installed. You can then close that, and then there should be now a folder called ReShade-Shaders. Open that up. Then you want to go over to the ReShade GI Beta 0.13, which I believe is the latest at the moment. Open that up, and inside there'll be a shaders and textures folder in there. Just drag that over, and then there's also a dither FX file you can get, which is on the Discord as well. I think you may have to scroll up a bit or ask someone where it is, and they should be able to give you a link towards it, but that's also available on the Discord. You go under here, go to the QUINT folder, and drag that dither file over, and then that should be ready to rumble. And now we can fire up the game and see how ray tracing changes the look of Crash Bandicoot. Alright, so once you're in game, you can just hit the home key, and you'll be taken to a tutorial. You can skip that if you like, and then what we want to do is go to search and type in RTGI, and you should be able to see the global illumination shader there. Tick that on, and there we go. It looks like it works quite nicely. You can see in the background there, and what we're going to do is turn on a few settings just to make it look a little bit better. I'm going to adjust some stuff later, but for now we'll leave that as default and we'll jump into a level. So we're going to start off on Insanity Beach just to get a basic overview of how things work and how they look. Let's dive right in. So the first thing we'll do is hit home again, and we want to go to the lighting channel. And so here you can see how the lighting is being applied in the ray tracing shader. So you can see there's nice shading there, ambient occlusion. These deeper areas here look nicely shaded around the clock spinning there. This looks pretty good, and this is just with default settings. So if we go back to normal, we go to here, what we do is we set up a shortcut key to turn the effects on and off. As we flick between it, you can see what's being added there. So this is with the ray tracing off, and then the ray tracing on. You can see there's a lot of extra shading added there, texture, detail, color, lighting. We're gonna have a look into how the frame rate's affected in a bit. I don't think there's a frame rate counter in the game, but what we can do is use ReShade itself to see the frame rate. Frame rate is reporting as 59.5 FPS there. That's not too bad. And as we turn the effect off, it goes up to 60 FPS. So it's not actually costing any real FPS there. That's pretty much marginal, which is really good. Let's go back to some of the settings. Back to the lighting channel. So first off, we want to turn the fade out end up right to max so that the ray tracing is being affected as far as it possibly can. You've got ambient occlusion intensity, bounce lighting intensity. I think Z thickness might need to be changed because you can see there's shadowing behind these boxes where there really shouldn't be. So if we maybe dial... Whoop. Nope. Okay. Okay, so Z thickness, maybe we'll leave that as is. What we can do is see what happens when we turn bounce lighting up. Everything has a super glow to it. Wow, look at that. So of course, that's where the lighting is just too strong. We can also turn the ambient occlusion way up, and now it's like a super strong effect. The frame rate's still the same, but now you can see the difference even more. Still looks pretty good, but it's probably a bit too strong of an effect. Especially around the fur there, you can see the fur's kind of moving in a weird way. It's like Crash has been electrified. So, let's turn bounce lighting down to a more reasonable level. Let's stick it up to 6. Ambient occlusion intensity. So the default is 4. So I reckon we can probably crank that up to 5.5, so we'll leave that for the moment. Ray length, see what happens when we take that from the default 4. Okay, ray length is a weird one. It's not always just more is better, and it affects different games in different ways. So you seem to get a bit more definition in some of the shadows and lighting there. So when we crank it down a bit, so I might put that down to 3, ray amount. It will look better because there's more rays being processed, but it will absolutely kill the frame rate. So as you can see there, as we turn that up, the frame rate is now 37. So yeah, what we'll do is, and it's kind of marginal improvement, so we'll leave that at 3. Ray step amount, 12 is the default. Cranking that up seems to give a bit more definition to the lighting and shadowing. We'll crank that up to 20. And the frame rate is still about 60, so that's pretty good. I quite like those settings already. So let's go back to the normal channel. So this is the effect on, and then the effect off. So yeah, I like that. That adds quite a bit of depth in the background, extra shadowing in the background, extra lighting from the boxes and on Crash, but it's not too over the top. So we're gonna move on to another level with a bit more extra lighting on it. One thing I have noticed just on the pause menu here is that there are some weird sort of ghosting effects. There's like a shadow of the crab here, and there's some other weird stuff going on, and there's some stuff behind the UI here. So I think there's some issues definitely with the UI there. Something odd's going on. I think there's a way to use UI detect to stop this sort of stuff, but I don't know what I'm doing enough with that yet. But for the moment, it's not really affecting gameplay, so we're going to carry on. So we're going to have a look at everyone's favorite level now, Sunset Vista. This is with the effect on. Let's turn the effect off. The extra shadowing in that back bit as well, in that little, the crevice there with the Wumpa fruit spinning around. And the extra sort of darkness in the background, the shadows added in. Especially in the ground geometry. You can see these little bits here being added in. Like extra shadowing around this as well. It's very subtle. Like it's not over the top. But it just enhances the look. It looks really good. So here we go. We can see some more lighting in the background here. So let's turn the effect off. Oh wow, look at the difference. And back on. It actually makes the lighting look a lot more natural, I think. Especially for the time of day this is supposed to be set at. And the game still plays really, really smoothly. So you can have this on without the frame rate being affected. And I'm playing at 4K. I'm running on a Core i7 6700K and a RTX 2080. So that should give you some idea of the level of performance. And the soft sort of shadowing coming from those things spinning around on the right. So if you see as it's coming around, you've got like the main shadow there, but there's no soft shadow. And then you turn it on, and you've got a more softer sort of shadow coming around. That is really, really nice. Alright, so here we are on the upper levels, and you can see the background there, all the trees and the ruins and stuff look really good. And especially now we can see more of the time of day that it is. So this with the ray tracing effect on, and then we'll switch it off. Yeah, lots and lots of depth. Totally lost without that ray tracing. The time of day looks better because the lighting is being bounced around better. So you can see in the lighting channel, there's a lot more of a sort of orangey glow coming from the sky and in the background there. So let's move on to another level. So we're going to have a quick look at Cortex Power because that has some really good lighting in it. So we just look at these two glowing things here. Turn the ray tracing effect off. So there's a lot of extra glow coming from them. Extra shadowing. We go to the lighting channel. Oh yeah, look at that. Especially up the coils there. The extra lighting and shadowing on the coils coming through there. Oh, that's really cool. You can see here there's lots of glow coming from the toxic waste there. That looks really cool. A lot bouncing onto Crash as well. And the mask here. Turn the effect off. So you can definitely see there's a big effect on Crash's fur there. Like with what's reflecting off of it. And on the mask as well. One more level I want to check out on Crash 1, and that is Slippery Climb. And that's because it's got some good lighting, some good rain effects, but it's also kind of dark as well, so we'll see how the ray tracing affects that. So here we are on the opening part. That's with the ray tracing on, and then we'll turn it off. So there's more glow in the alcoves there. There's also more shadowing underneath these castle-y bits that Crash is standing on. So with the effect on, what we're going to do is switch to the lighting channel. Ah, you can see the lightning there. That's awesome, because the lightning is causing more bounce lighting to fly around. That's really, really nice. That's really cool. So that's adding in a nice bit of depth there. This level is so atmospheric. And I think anything that can add in some extra lighting and shading to make it look more atmospheric is just a winner. So this looks really cool. We can also see extra shadowing off the birds there. Soft shadowing behind them. So if we have a look at the bird here, let's flick over to the lighting channel. So you can see there's extra shadowing from the bird there as it's flying up and down. If we wait for the lightning to hit again. Yeah, the lightning is also affecting that shadow as well, I think. So that's adding in extra shadowing and details in real time as the lightning hits. So if you've got a relatively decent card, like a 1080 Ti or 1080, you should be able to run ray tracing with Crash Bandicoot just fine. Especially if you're running at 1080p. And because it's all done through ReShade, you don't need an RTX card, which is really good. This is such a nightmare level. So that was Slippery Climb with ray tracing on. Let's head over to Crash 2 and have a look at some of the ice levels. Let's dive into Snow Goat. So, this with the ray tracing on. And let's turn it off. Ooh, yeah. Back on. See, I've noticed this in other games with ice as well. The ray tracing makes ice look better. Especially where the ice has, I think this ice here will have subsurface scattering in it. And I think the ray tracing picks up on that and just like accentuates that look of ice, because that looks really good. It looks even more blue, it looks slightly more clear, and the snow looks better as well, especially these crystals as well. So yeah, you can see the blueness like bouncing around, the shadowing behind here. That's like that'll be global illumination kicking in. And the ice bits here, you can see the sort of subtle lighting there, up and down there. It gets darker down the pit. So let's turn the effect off here. Oh wow, look at that. Turn it back on. You can almost see there's like the way the light is being bounced around. It's almost as if there's ice crystals in the air. So yeah, it looks colder and it feels colder just to look at. And again, let's look at the lighting channel to see what's really going on. Yeah, look at that. So it's from like the ice bouncing the light up there. Let's quickly check the frame rate as well. So yeah, we're still just under 60 frames a second. And this internal area here, is this with it on? And then the RT off. Oh yeah, back on. The extra shadowing around the boxes, the extra icy effects at the top, the extra lighting everywhere. Ooh, that looks good. Whoops. Okay, so we're going to have a quick look at one of my favorite levels, which is Road to Ruin. So I think we're in a similar area now to where we were with Sunset Vista, at least geographically within the game world. So this with the ray tracing effect on, and then we'll turn it off. Oh yeah, so those little torches there, extra glow around it, extra shadowing, smoother lighting overall. Again, the lower areas here, the lower sort of ruins there, and much better shaded. Oh, the interesting thing is that the extra shading, the extra ambient occlusion, is causing very distant geometry to become visible. I think that is actually the end of the level there. I think that's the mouth you go in at the very end to go through the portal out. Because of course it's adding in the ambient occlusion around it. Actually, no, it's not. It's not. It is. It's Cortex Island. Yeah, okay, so that's Cortex Island. Wow. That's really cool. So you can actually see more detail on Cortex Island with it, which is pretty good. And I think these bits look a bit weird here because they're faded out in the game engine. I think as you get closer, they'll fade in. So that looks a bit weird. I don't think that's to do with the ray tracing. I think that's just to do with how the geometry is rendered at a distance. But it's not really visible in the actual game. So I'm going to move on to another level now. I'm going to move on to Spaced Out. Alright, so we got this glowy thing here. This with the ray tracing on. And then off. Ah, check this out. So watch, this with the ray tracing off. See it go past, and then on. Watch the thing in the background. Look at that extra green glow and orange glow coming off of that onto the metal behind it. Around there. Look at that. Wow, that's cool. So you got the shadow behind it, and then you got the green glow coming up to there. Let's check out the lighting channel on that. See it even clearer. The glow across there as it goes back and forth. And even a bit of the rainbow sort of glow from the mask there on the background as well. It's probably not the most realistic thing. I could probably turn bounce lighting down, but that looks so good that I don't want to. So here's an example of a gem here, the blue gem. You can see there's a bit of a glow coming from that in the lighting channel. as we turn the ray tracing off. And back on. You can see the extra lighting from it. So all this lighting and shadowing going on here. Just really enhancing how this all looks. Alrighty, so... Oh, no. Whoops, okay. So, let's go on to Crash Bandicoot 3 and have a look at some levels there. So, I really want to see how underwater levels look, so let's check out Under Pressure. So, there's quite a lot of lighting and shadowing stuff going on here. So this is with the ray tracing on. Let's switch it off. And back on. Yeah, you can see there's quite a lot of extra shadowing in the background there. A bit of extra lighting on the ground. A bit of extra shading on Crash. I'm interested to see in the lighting channel to see if the water movements are affected by that. I was hoping the sort of water caustics reflecting through would be affected by the ray tracing, but unfortunately not. But still, that looks awesome. And those things in the background look like something out of Rick and Morty. But yeah, that's quite nice. Again, quite a subtle effect, but makes quite a bit of a difference. And there's pretty much no performance penalty. So we check the frame rate again. We're about 59.9 frames. Switch the ray tracing off. And we got up to 60.09 frames. Again, even 59.9 there. So it's pretty much margin of error difference with the frame rate. Especially this bit here. Let's turn the ray tracing off. Yeah, look at the depth that adds. The extra shadowing around there. Really nice. Nice smooth shadowing as well in the background. There's another level I want to quickly check out. It's Tomb Raider. So there's quite a lot of lighting in here. Really, really nice lighting. This with the ray tracing on. Let's switch it off. See, it adds extra glow on the walls there. Extra shadowing under the water. Around that corner is a bit of extra shadowing as well. Let's go to the lighting channel again. So that's pretty nice. That's a nice effect to it. Some surfaces with ray tracing on as well just look really nice. Especially like metal and stuff like that. They just look better because of the way the light's hitting them. And it's the same for these walls. It just looks better, at least in my opinion. Because of that extra lighting and ambient occlusion on it. So again, another pretty solid improvement with the ray tracing there. You can see it on and off, especially in this area. The extra lighting and shadowing just adds a nice bit of depth. And if it's a bit too bright for you, you can, of course, just adjust it. But that, to me, looks really nice. So let's move on to the final level that I want to have a look at. Is, of course, Gone Tomorrow. So this level has lots and lots of lighting. Lots of futuristic stuff going on. And looks really cool. So just from this area here, with these neon signs in the background. Let's turn the ray tracing effect off. And then back on. So the signs are a little bit brighter. There's a little bit extra of a halo glow around them. And the under parts of the level are shaded up more, especially in the distance as well. So if we have a look at the lighting channel again. Yeah, look at that extra glow going on. So if we look at these glowing things here, look at the lighting channel. Ooh, look at the extra lighting coming off of them. That is nice. And we turn the effect off. Loses a lot of depth, loses a bit of color. Especially those distant areas. Very nice. So this area here looks really nice as well. Turn the ray tracing effect off. And then back on. Just add some nice lighting back there. Looks really, really cool. Very Fifth Element, this part. Really, really awesome. So we can see the lighting channel here. Oh, especially from that thing glowing there. And you've got extra shadowing along the bottom here from this platform. Look at the way that spins as well. That's adding extra lighting on the ground there, bouncing off. Really, really nice that is. That's very, very nice. See, I'm pretty happy with this. So if you're watching this and you want to see any more levels with ray tracing, or any more ReShade effect shaders with Crash Bandicoot, then do drop a comment. Oh, that looks so nice. The sun coming through there. And again, you can see there's shadows there from the platform. So along like the bits here. Added in by the ray tracing. So you got like the sunlight there and then a shadow from the platform. Really, really nice. Of course, the shadow would be the other way because of the way the sun's facing, but the ray tracing shader can't determine where a light source is coming from within 3D space. So it's doing the best it can, but it still looks really, really good. So yeah, as I say, if you want to see any more effects, any more levels with ray tracing on in Crash Bandicoot, please do drop a like, a subscribe, and leave a comment to say what you think and to see any more levels you'd like to see or any more effects you'd like to see. And do stick around for future videos. There's always more stuff coming up to do with video games and technology. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.